The Carolina Panthers are selecting quarterback Bryce Young at number 1 overall.
Inside, outside the pocket, Bryce Young checks off so many boxes with his arm and his legs. Like, his ability to create in both of those areas is elite as it gets. He's a big-time playmaker, good in structure, even better out of it.
This guy has the processing ability and the poise in the pocket of Drew Brees, while also having Kyler's build. And you have to consider a little bit more athleticism than Drew Brees ever had. He doesn't have Kyler's ability to run, but he does have Kyler's ability to create in the pocket. And yeah, there are concerns with Bryce Young from an injury perspective, from a long-term perspective. But when we're talking about as a prospect, just the tape, he is the best quarterback in this class. And in my opinion, he is the best player in this class. This is an A+ to me, not just for the pick, but also for what Carolina gave up. I didn't think they gave up that much to move up. We talked about that a lot at the time. I loved that trade for Carolina, pushing your chips in. I think they have a defense that's ready to compete. You plug in Bryce Young now, the job is you have to go get some weapons. So that's going to be a big time thing that Carolina has to do going forward here. Oh, the Arizona Cardinals have traded the pick?
Yeah, what? I'm seeing that they've traded to the Houston Texans.
Whoa!
I don't see the compensation.
Whoa!
Texans are moving up to take Will Anderson.
Whoa!
You guys just said the Texans need to
I'm predicting
trade
that.
back up. I don't think they're taking Njigba here, though.
Yeah, no, I did not. I don't know anything. But yeah, if I was guessing, the Texans traded up. They're going to take Will Anderson.
Holy smokes! The Cardinals get 12-33, a first in 2024, a third in 2024, while the Houston Texans get number 3 and 105 this year.
That is way too much.
Yeah, I hate that deal for the Texans.
Woo! That is way too much.
The Texans are a bad football team that just mortgaged their future for an edge rusher. Like, I really dislike that trade for the Texans. They traded to go up from 12, where they were within striking range of another piece they needed for their offense, to 3 to get an edge rusher in a class that's pretty deep with edge rushers. To give up, your top of the second round pick, to give up next year's first, I think that's just insane. I don't like that deal. If you're going to trade up, and you're going to give up a future first-round pick, and it's not for a quarterback, it's a bad move. With the 6th pick, the Arizona Cardinals select Paris Johnson Jr., offensive tackle out of Ohio State.
I had Paris Johnson as my number 1 offensive lineman. I had him as my number 8 overall player. Shane also had him. I had him 8. Shane had him 8. Dobbs had him 9. So our consensus was 8. I compared him to 2 guys, Laramie Tunsil. A lot of reasons that, for physical and frame reasons, there's a lot of similarities to Laramie Tunsil. But Lane Johnson, the reason that I compared Paris Johnson gets off the snap so fast. And obviously we all know, because we watch the Eagles, that opposing teams' fans get so mad because they want Lane Johnson called for false starts. So it's not the last name is not the only thing these two share. They both get off the line really, really fast, both athletic freaks, both huge frames. So a lot of similarities between Paris Johnson and Lane Johnson. And I'll tell you what, if Paris Johnson turns into a Lane Johnson, then Arizona absolutely loves the pick they just made.
I was okay with the Drake London pick, but now to go take Bijan Robinson, it's the 3rd year in a row.
Eagles on the clock at 9! Eagles on the clock at 9!
And they got it! Oh my God, Eagles fans better be doing backflips.
4th rounder next year?
No way.
That's nothing. No way. Yeah, I agree.
How's that possible? Jalen Carter! It's Jalen Carter! Let's go! Sorry for screaming. Oh my God!
Oh man. Play that sweet music, man. Play that sweet music.
How he played him like a fiddle!
The Eagles draft with the number 9 pick, Jalen Carter out of the University of Georgia.
Carter is versatile. You can line him up anywhere between the tackles. He's probably mostly going to play a 3 technique for the Eagles. He handles double teams really well. He's got a strong anchor in that regard. And so you've got 2 guys in him and Jordan Davis next to each other who are both really good against the run, which is going to be important when you're playing undersized linebackers like Nakobe Dean and Nicholas Morrow. high motor player. The only reason he fell this far was whatever's going on off the field, and obviously the Eagles feel comfortable with it. They've got insight into him through some of his former teammates that are on the roster right now. That's a slam dunk pick for the Eagles, and to only have to give up a 4th round pick to go do it is phenomenal.
Yeah. New England Patriots selected out of Oregon, cornerback Christian Gonzalez.
Great pick.
Now we're talking, baby. Now we're talking.
I will just say to close the Levis thing before we get to Gonzalez, this Levis 2021 tape that people are talking really highly about, and Shane mentioned it there. He didn't go as gaga as some people have. This is a guy who still was below 8 yards per attempt, below 8 yards air yards per attempt, 24 touchdowns with 13 picks. I don't think he had like a 300-yard game passing. I don't get the Will Levis thing. I have him 52nd. I absolutely wouldn't consider him in the first round, as they show Emmanuel Forbes with an embarrassing pick 6 on Will Levis. That it's insane that he wasn't able to diagnose that. But yeah, that's a great pick by the Patriots here. Phenomenal pick.
Dibes, he was your number one. Oh, no, Witherspoon was your number one. But you really did like Gonzalez. What's your thoughts on this?
Just a smooth, natural athlete. He's got CB1, boundary, cornerback potential. That's really what it comes down to, is athleticism. He was one of the winners at the combine at the position. He was my CB2, but he was like 1A to 1B with Devin Witherspoon. I think Christian Gonzalez has worlds of talent. I'm just dumbfounded. Like, I love Emmanuel Forbes, but he's not a better prospect. He doesn't have the upside of a Christian Gonzalez.
Christian Gonzalez was my CB1. He was one of my red chip players in this draft. 9.95 relative athletic score. He can play physical on the line of scrimmage and press man, and then he mirrors receivers' routes really well. He also does a good job in zone coverage of keeping eyes on the quarterback while he's like in zone coverage. You don't want to be staring at the receivers. You want to stare at the quarterback and just sort of feel where the receivers are. And he does a really good job of doing that. And he's a great tackler. He only missed 6% of his tackle attempts in 2022. So I think he's a really good corner prospect. And this was the joke when we did our cornerback show. I literally wrote it as a weakness in almost every defensive back's profile, but I said they're all grabby. All of them are. And we talk about that all the time, and it usually ends up not being a big deal in the NFL. So there'll be a little bit of coaching there, but I think Christian Gonzalez is a slam dunk pick for the Patriots there. He should have been off the board in the top 10.
The Bengals are taking Clemson defensive end Miles Murphy at 28.
Yeah, that sucks.
Sorry, bud. I was trying to break you. I was not trying to break your heart. I was trying to let you down easy. That's why I say you may want to take a powder, dude.
I will not let Dibes be assigned Miles Murphy.
All you, bro.
Miles Murphy is my man. This is I had Miles Murphy number 3 overall. Just for a little reference out there, folks. This is my favorite prospect in the entire NFL draft. I didn't understand any of the negativity. I don't understand why he's fell this far. He checks every single box. I absolutely love this pick for the Bengals. I don't even think this really was much of a need for the Bengals. Like, I don't think they needed to go get an edge rusher or defensive lineman at all, to be honest. I think they had bigger needs at DB and tight end. But I think they looked at it and said, there's absolutely no way we should be able to take a guy like Miles Murphy at 28. He checks every single box that I'm looking for.
So you're saying the best available. They went best available.
Yeah, I think that's what they did. Maybe Shane and Dibes feel differently, but need-wise, I don't think this was a need pick. I think this was in a best available.
You guys want me? So Jeff McClain says Eagles select Georgia outside linebacker Nolan Smith.
Yeah.
All right. Coming into the night, I would have been fine with Nolan Smith at 10. So to go get Jalen Carter for the cost of a 4th-round pick next year, and then for Nolan Smith inexplicably to fall all the way to 30 and to be the pick, like there is not a team that nailed the draft more tonight than the Eagles. It's just incredible value with both of their picks.
There's PSG. All those
Nolan
guys are on there.
Nolan Smith is he's a ridiculous athlete. He's undersized, 238 pounds, but he was a very good edge setter in the running game in the SEC. I think he can do that at the next level too. He's got great bend. He needs to develop like some pass rush moves, but that's why you draft the guy into the rotation that the Eagles have. He's not going to have to step in and be a year one, play 70% of the snaps guy. You can put him out there and you're going to be able to do such creative things with Nolan Smith on one side and Hassan Reddick on the other in terms of what Sean Desai likes to do, making everything look the same pre-snap, and then he bails guys into coverage and he'll bring blitzers and rotate coverages and things like that. Like, that's a really exciting pick. There shouldn't be an Eagles fan that's disappointed in any way with anything that happened tonight.
I'm on it.
Yeah. With the 20th pick, the Seahawks take Nolan Smith from
Yes.
Georgia.
Damn it.
Georgia
Okay.
Bulldogs.
Wait a second. Albert Breer just said Jackson Smith and Jigba.
So like
It's
you said,
JSN.
it's Jackson
JSN.
Smith and Jigba, who I got turned on by Chalk Talk.
I had JSN as my number 6 overall player. I think he combines shades of a lot of really, really interesting players. Tyler Lockett, the route running of Devontae Smith. Amon-Ra St. Brown's been a comp that's been thrown around a lot for him. But Eric Edholm of the NFL of NFL.com, one of their lead draft analysts, compared him to Cooper Kupp, and I can't stop thinking about it. I think there's a lot of similarities between JSN and Cooper Kupp. I have completely fallen in love with JSN as receiver prospect dating back to 2021. If someone wants to pull up the game logs for his last 5 games of 2021, they are sickeningly good. So I think JSN is going to be by far the best wide receiver in this class. And I think he's got a floor of being like a top 30 receiver in the NFL.
We also have a trade in. The Steelers are now on the clock. They have traded with the New England Patriots to move up to 14.
Broderick
Pittsburgh
Jones?
is now on the clock.
So not only are the Patriots not taking Will Levis, they traded out of the pick.
They could be. They could at 17. They only gave up 120.
This screams Broderick Jones.
Yeah, they're definitely moving up for a tackle. I would
Yeah,
be shocked
Broderick
if it's not Broderick Jones.
Huge need for them.
the Pittsburgh Steelers have selected Broderick Jones.
Yeah. There it is. Broderick Jones, man. A great selection for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Broderick Jones was a 5-star prospect coming out of high school. Stud player, 21, almost 22 years old. He had a 93rd percentile 40-yard dash time, 9.59 relative athletic score. So he's really athletic offensive tackle. He's got really good balance, as you would expect from an athletic guy that can move. He's got really good mirroring skills, especially against speed rushers off the edge, and he's good at resetting his hands against those guys. He's got strong hands. He's got good length. He does a really good job of latching on to edge rushers and just washing them out of the play. I will say that he only has 19 collegiate starts, so there's some rawness in his technique. At Georgia, he only had 203 true pass sets in his career, which is a pass set without play action or an RPO. So there's rawness there. You see it in his punch timings. He punches wildly. He can be a little slow out of his stance, but I think he's as good of a player as he is. And then to say he's also pretty raw, I think he's got a lot of upside. I really like Broderick Jones. The Steelers needed to invest in the offensive line, and for them to be able to move up ahead of the Jets, who almost certainly would have taken him for such a small value, I think it's a great pick by the Steelers.